We do so many stories around here that sometimes I can't remember all of them. People will send me an email saying, "Hey, Colin, remember that story from Champaign, Illinois, where this happened and that happened?" And I have to ask them to remind me, or I have to look it up, because we've done thousands of videos, written 3 books. That's millions of words. So there's a lot going on. We just try to keep piling on this mountain of evidence to fight this mountain of denial, deceit, and delusion. But for some stories, they stick with me. I don't know why, they just do. This story, I think the kid's name was Robert Ponzi, stuck with me. He was a happy-go-lucky kid from Florida who moved to Baltimore. Got a job at the James Joyce Pub in the Inner Harbor area. He thought he could take a bicycle from there to his home, ride it through a black neighborhood at night, and just give his regards to the fellas, because he was down with the cause, so was his mom, and they couldn't imagine how the cause would not be down with him. So he's driving through the black neighborhood. All of a sudden, he's surrounded by a large group of black people. They want to steal his bike. They want to steal his wallet. They want to beat him up just for the hell of it. He takes his bike and he starts defending himself by swinging his bike around. They knock him down and stab him 17 times. His mother, well, let's get a reminder of what that story was. And then let's see how his mom reacted, how the community reacted, and what just happened yesterday.
Developments surrounding a brutal attack in North Baltimore. Police arrest a 3rd teenager who they say confessed to murdering a young man biking home from work. WJZ and Mike Shue are live in Harbor East, outside the pub where the victim worked, with details on a vigil held last night. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Lynn. Good morning, everyone. 29-year-old Robert Ponzi worked here at the James Joyce Pub. He was to celebrate his 30th birthday this weekend with his family. Now, instead, they're looking for answers. Stabbed and left to die.
Can't fathom this kind of action out of boys this age.
Dawn Ponzi is trying to come to grips with a brutal beatdown that left her 29-year-old son dead.
Was he alone? What was his final moments? You know, why?
Saturday night, Rob Ponzi leaves work at James Joyce Pub in the Harbor East and bikes home through the Waverly community. There, he's met by a group of teens. Ponzi stops his bicycle in the area of Old York Road and Venable Avenue, and some sort of verbal confrontation breaks out. Police say that's when the group assaulted, stabbed, and robbed Ponzi. Charging documents show that the teens yell, and then they say get his wallet, and that Ponzi tried to get them away by swinging his bike back and forth. Emergency calls shed light on Ponzi's struggle just before he dies.
Critical, doesn't look good. His priority what? Not sure what hospital yet.
The 3 teens arrested and charged are Antoine Eldridge, Daquan Middleton, and now Prince Green. Green is the son of a Waverly activist. Police say he confessed to stabbing the victim.
You've ruined your families as well as mine. It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't show up for an emotional vigil last night, mourning the loss of a young man who loved cycling.
The Baltimore Sun had a few more details about the murder, about the way people reacted to the murder. Everybody came. This is a ritual in Baltimore where the white friends of the person who was killed all get together and reassure themselves that this is an anomaly. This doesn't really happen in Baltimore. We still love our city, and all we have to do is stick together and hope for the best, and the best will happen, because that's the way the fellas roll, because all the fellas need are some resources. So can't we just get them some more resources? Then we dial over to the killer's mom. Killer's mom said, "Well, I don't really think he did it. You know, I didn't have my eyes on it. I really don't like the fact that everybody's already convicted my son for this murder. He's a good boy. You didn't do nothing." Baltimore Sun chimed in. The guy's name is Prince Green. Prince Green is well known in area debate circles as a standout member of the City College high school team. At age 12, he wrote a winning proposal for a small grant to fund a program for youths in his area. He showed a tremendous amount of leadership. He even had a business card, said the woman who gave him the money. She talked to him about joining his her board of directors. He was also in 6th grade. He, some kind of local TV show in a mock court. He played a district attorney, and he said he wanted to be a district attorney. We're talking about the killer. We're talking about the kid who was convicted of stabbing this guy with a huge knife he just happened to be carrying around. Then we go to the mom, Thomasine Green. She's an activist. She's a community organizer. She says every meeting that we have, I'm talking about the kids. With God as my witness, I said we have to have more community centers. Let's not wait. We have to do something for these kids. We get into the details of how they caught the guy. So the mom was all caught up in the tragedy of Freddie Gray. The tragedy of Freddie Gray. It was no tragedy. But they used that as proof, the controversy surrounding Freddie Gray, they used that as proof positive that, to ask the following question, what does it take for the community to get funds for these young black males in Waverly? Of course, she said, there's no excuse for hurting other people. But but what she didn't like was a torrent of racially charged comments on social media after Baltimore police posted information. A torrent of racially charged comments basically were of this tone. This is at Baltimore's a dark and dirty and dangerous chocolate city. The people who run Baltimore do nothing but deny, condone, encourage, excuse, and even lie about the level of black criminality. And when this happens over and over and over, everybody goes through this kabuki dance where they pretend like they don't understand what's happening. This black on white violence in Baltimore. I don't understand how anybody could look at Baltimore and say, oh yeah, that's a safe place for my family to be, because there is no black on white hostility in Baltimore. Anybody who thinks that, you are a danger to yourself and to others. Okay, so this kid, Prince Green, he was convicted as a juvenile for stabbing Robert Ponzi with a knife. He was stabbed 17 times. What's that worth in Baltimore? What's it worth in Baltimore if your mom's a community activist and organizer who's down with the cause of Freddie Gray? That's worth 2 years. This kid got out of jail in January. 2 years after the attack. In January, he's back on the streets. Doing it again. And the mom's going through the whole same thing again, going, oh, my son. By the way, the numbers on the mom and the son don't add up. The mom's like 66, the son's 15. So I don't know if she's his mom, his grandmom, his great-grandmom once removed, if she's his aunt, she's his cousin's mom, who the hell knows? But she's back in front of the reporters, and the reporters are scribbling as quickly as they can. Reminding everybody, well, her son probably didn't do this because you weren't there, you didn't see it, did you? Well, we had cameras on it. A bunch of black people beat up another white guy. They ran to the subway station at near the Mondawmin Mall. Sound familiar? Ground zero for the black riots in Baltimore. That's where the target's moving out. That's where all the activists came to meet. This guy's mom, Prince George's mom, was probably there at that meeting where they were complaining that the target's moving out of the Mondawmin Mall. Why would anybody move out of the Mondawmin Mall? Why? Just because it's a center. Just because it's ground zero for black on white violence and black hostility and black criminality. Why would any store move out of that? We don't understand that. It must be racism. That's what they said. We did a video on that. And now the mom's going through the same thing all over again. Oh, I don't know what happened. People are already trying him before he's convicted. Yeah, okay. All right, lady. Yeah, you're going to stand behind You're going to stand behind the Constitution. You're going to stand behind due process. What's that victim who was beat in that subway? What's he standing behind? He's standing behind the promise that if he ever goes to trial, he's going to hope for a Bronx jury, a black jury that the people who tried to kill this guy, who hurt him pretty badly, those people are counting on another Bronx jury, a jury that will, believe all these fairy tales about black victimization, and they'll factor that into their deliberations when they see what they should do with these guys and sentence him to 2 years. 2 years for killing somebody. Good Lord, if you only get 2 years for killing somebody, what are you going to get for just chasing somebody around with a knife and carrying around a gun? Nothing. Because that's how they roll in Baltimore. The psycho Thomasine Green, Prince Green's mom, grandmom, whatever the hell she is, she uses the classic out. When she's talking about her son's last victim, she said, "Oh, I feel for Mrs. Ponzi. I feel for her." But then she said, then they added in, but I feel for Baltimore. She's not just sad that her son killed this dude. No, she's sad that a whole system of institutional white racism where they don't give black people the resources to help their kids. She's sad that black people are forced to go around killing white people or chasing them around with guns and beating them. That's how they roll in Baltimore. How much evidence, how many stories like this do you need to see? Do you need to see the latest story out of Baltimore, the so-called nice neighborhood next to Fells Point, next to the Inner Harbor called Fells Point? Story in the paper that said, oh yeah, we got to close our really, really nice restaurant down because nobody wants to come anywhere near this area anymore. It's radioactive. We can't even sell this damn place. This was one of these like hipster restaurants that's, opened up to great acclaim. Everybody's supposed to go there for their craft beer and their artisan cheeses, that kind of place. Now they can't even give it away because of the black violence and criminality that is part of Baltimore. Paper can't figure it out. The paper, Thomasine Green, Prince Green's mom, she figured it out, but she's lying her ass off about it. And the reporters and the public officials, they're just happy to just parrot whatever she said about resources, because giving black kids more resources is guaranteed not to make the black kids angry.